Good afternoon, my name is Aiden. I'm from the DEVIL5 team here at the University of Wisconsin Stout, and I'm giving you guys the glorious explanation robot video for our world's robots here. So now we did 14th in our division, made it all the way to elims, lost to 10-ton, we triple crowned at the VEXU event. I mean, you guys know what went down, but we still walked away with the design award, and we will definitely go through and explain how we did our notebook and explain that for you guys, but it'll be in a separate video. Just check that out in a little bit when that's posted. But the robots, that's what we're here for. So we have our 15-inch robot pepper jack and our 24-inch robot blades. We are currently running a 10 motor, 600 RPM direct drivetrain here. And these motors are pressed, not really pressed, but they're printed and set directly into our chassis, which gives us a super low profile and there's a lot of space underneath here for all of our components, including our odometry and our other mechanisms to keep these hooks from hitting anything. So our odometry uses 2 VEX rotation sensors. We use those 2-inch omnidirectional wheels, and then we're using some AliExpress linear slides with some springs as well. You can see there's light strips on here. We kind of fried the pie in the Airbnb before the night of competition, and we kind of couldn't get it to work for the tournament. But next year, that's what we got next year. So moving on from the drivetrain odometry, we are running a 2-motor, 600 RPM, pretty much direct intake here. We're running 2 hooks slightly off center. That is because when we found that we had a hook on either end, the upper hook would hit the ring that's on the top of the mobile goal and actually slow down the pickup of the bottom hook for the new ring. So if we isolate these and put them slightly off center, we can have the first hook intake the ring, and if it doesn't get the first hook, it'll prop it up just here, and it'll be ready for the second hook to pick that ring up and score it on the goal. Now, we utilize our arm claw here, which is, you can definitely see off the front, these 2 white panels help keep the ring from bouncing off of the hooks in the front. So I spin this around the backside here, we're utilizing these flexors on the back here to help flip the rings over. The hooks you can see as well are very unique. We're using a TPU base, which can give a little bit of a flex. We're using a slightly bent PLA top hook, which helps kind of make sure the rings are in there very snug. It is such a perfect fit. We have had no issues with this hooks breaking or bending or anything like that. So the TPU held up very well. And I guess one last thing with conveyor before we move on a mobile goal. You can see we tied our conveyor here. This is because we run the flashback here to St. Cloud.
Go back.
Our chain exploded in semifinals, allowing us to conveniently get stuck on top of it. So we tied this with what I think is 40 to 60 pound, it's like beading thread for like leather work or like bead work. And it's super small and it holds very well. We initially started with fishing braid, but fishing braid wears over time when it hits these gears, and it kind of like expands and it doesn't sit good over time. So this bead wire holds very strong, super abrasion resistant, and it hasn't had our chain explode at all during Worlds. Moving on to the Mogo Mech, we have a locking linkage system here that allows us to securely hold a mobile with the use of just these 2 pistons and a double acting setup here. So you can see there's 2 screws in here as well, which these interface with the bottom of the goal, grabbing just that inner lip of the mobile goal. So when those engage, it doesn't allow any rotation, it doesn't allow it to tip up at all. And these little flanges on the side, left and right of our back kind of scoop, allows the mobile goal to come in neatly, and the clamp presses in, and it doesn't allow it to tip up, left or right. It is in there securely, to the point where we can pick up the entire robot with just the mobile goal. And that's how you know it's built well. The plastic is all draft PLA. Anytime you see matte plastic on this robot, it's all draft PLA. So moving back around here to our ring claw, we have a couple different states. So when we start the match, the ring claw will be all the way down. So we'll be within our 15 inches because it'll be mirrored for a 15-inch robot. So we'll stay all the way down. When we start the code, it'll be in a ready position. This is the position where it will be perfect to grab rings up. And it's just that perfect height where if you look on top here, it's the perfect distance where the hook barely misses the arm. And so that helps assist the rings in going up in a very smooth and repeatable motion every time. And so we run this pretty much at 100%. So when we're flying around the field, this backplate needs to be very, very sturdy. So the next kind of position the arm can be in is all the way down. And that is a good spot for the ring to actually grab here. And we do that with these two screws that we kind of filed. We filed these screws to help kind of isolate the contact point on our robot. That way we can grab a very secure grab on these rings, make sure we can hold on to them while we're trying to score on the wall stakes or on our alliance stake as well. And finally, when we grab the ring and bring it all the way up, we can either do our wall stakes or preset on the controller, we can do the alliance stakes. And it holds very well. And because we're grabbing it at such that precise height, it's right on the circumference of the ring, outer circumference, we can just drive forward and it will simply peel it off and just slide it on the wall stake so that it doesn't ever fall off prior to scoring it.
And mentioning that mobile goal, this can also score on mobile goals as well, can it?
It can. We'll run that clip in a little bit, but I mean, from just this.
It works better when it's in a robot.
Leave me alone!
So moving on from the front arm, the ring arm, we've got some crazy tech here that we've got going into our goal rush. Now we knew goal rush was going to be a big part of our VEXU comps because unlike high school, we have 3 goals to fight over versus just the 1. Our mobile goal will flip down. We have a double acting cylinder up here. This cylinder will set it down and then also lift it back up. This double acting cylinder plays a big part in how we rush the goal because we're not only trying to grab it, but we're also trying to deny the opponent the access to the goal. So people typically just do a single grab and rush back, whereas we do a kind of 2-stage grab, tip, and rush back system. So you can see here we have a set screw pressed into a heat set nut in our ABS claw. And so inside here, you can look at the sensor here. Our autonomous code will actually use this proximity sensor, which will determine if we grab the goal or if we fall back to our secondary setup, which is typically the center goal. So if we detect a goal on the inside of the robot knows then to grab, and then it also knows to tip the arm up. So you can see here, this is a pretty gnarly angle to have this mobile goal at if you're the opponent, because you can't necessarily grab under because our robot is also reversing and tipping up at the same time. Moving on from the goal rush arm, we have our 24-inch bot utilize a very unique way of ensuring that we can get to the goal as fast as possible, and that is our string tech. Now, our string tech utilizes a badge reel-like system where we have a spool of string wrapped inside of a coil, and that can then extend out and then pull all the way back in. So when we want to start the code, we'll pull this all the way out to our white line. And if you look inside here, we have this passive lever. Now, it was very important to us as a team to make this system completely passive. That way we can ensure that we're not wasting any motors, any solenoids on just this system. So think of a belay system for climbing or for ropes. And so you see when I release this to the rear position, it's pulling on the string from the spool and it's gonna bring that in. Now, when we tip it forward, it locks it in this forward position and we hold that down with our arm here. So when our arm is down, it flips this lever out and it allows the string to rest right in the front. So as soon as the code starts, the arm resumes to that ready position and the string retracts. Super simple, haven't had it break. And so following the string mech here on Blaze, since we do a rear rush, we do this to both grab the goal fast and then simply just turn a little bit and then grab the goal right after we rush, which improves the speed of our autonomous. But PJ, on the other hand, since we're only expanding out of the front, we goal rush on the front. Now, this is mostly used in our matches to help with grabbing goals out of the corner rather than an autonomous tool. But that was just something that we decided to use after we built it, just so we can have that flexibility with both robots. Now, moving on to the climb, this is the cream of the crop of the DEVIL5s here. Our small robot pepper jack just utilizes a very simple passive design, which has 2 hooks and a slight screw head. We utilize these hard stops here to help lock the arm in place. We can pick it up at just that angle. And we found the CG was right there. So all we did was simply just drive underneath and it locks there and it holds up the robot very, very stable and it doesn't tip a lot. We get an easy tier 1 with about only 3 to 5 seconds remaining of the match. And now for the tier 3 with top ring. So the main reason why we chose this design for this arm was mainly for the possibility of doing that high stake very efficiently. We wanted to do a corner climb because we figured with all of the videos we've seen of doing a side climb with high school, we could try something different. We can try a corner climb on the outside. So with utilizing this arm, what we can do is actually hold this ring up top and then proceed to climb all the way up to the top, set it on there, and then that would be our high stake. So initially we started with we called like a praying mantis style, where the arms lift up and grab it, similar to Echo's robot, where they use string and pull up. But after a lot of testing, the corner climb was not it for that style. So we switched to this linear extension type, but looking at it, it's very compact, doesn't use a lot of space, and it was super simple to tack on, and that's why we kind of chose this design with the arm as well, because it leaves the space very open for the possibility of adding the Tier 3 in the future. For the Tier 3, we utilize a clutch style PTO system rather than a gear sliding or gear shifting style. So on the inside here, we have a single acting piston engaging this pulley kind of spool in the back with a fork, and to wind it up, we simply just rotate it and it ratchets in. Now this will retain our position the entirety of the match until it is time to climb. Now when it is time to climb, that pulley will get pulled in, releasing our ratchet, and then when we release our piston, that pulley will slip out, allowing it to spin freely, and our latex tubing will allow this to carry all the way up. And so we have two stages to our climb. We have our active hooks and our passive hooks. Now our passive and active hooks both need to be out of the way of our arm during the match, because if we were to engage this early, our arm could go down and then we couldn't go up. If this didn't snap before, this would hold up right here. And essentially this lock retains this position here. The motion of this sliding up flips this lock forward and allows it to engage our passive hooks, just like that. I'll run this again here. By using just C-channel, ABS slides, and polycarbonate ends, we were able to achieve a Tier 3 in testing in our pits. And during a match, we were actually able to get up to a Tier 2, but we could have done a Tier 3 with just a little bit more time. But we utilize a latex kind of banding system here, where we essentially use one piece of latex, it spools all the way down, and then that wants to make that section pull up. And then down here as well, we have another section of latex, which will then spool this side up and allow that to get pulled down. So we haven't had any issues with deploying, essentially, because of this latex. It does flex a lot better than just normal rubber bands. So in order to start the climb, our robot uses the cone of the corner of the ladder in order to prop itself up. And essentially, we need to do a burnout in order to start wheeling in our PTO. So what propping up does is we kind of extend our robot up, getting our wheels off the ground, and we have these custom spacers in the back to also alleviate that pressure that the wheels have on the ground. And so once we're in this position, we do a burnout and we start to reel in the active hooks. And when the active hooks go all the way down, they start to engage with the first rung. And now you can see we have these interesting kind of extensions on the end here. And these extensions essentially allow us to, in this tip back position, get that little extra reach just on that first rung to ensure that we can climb all the way up. And that was figured out in the pits on the second day of Worlds, but
Yep. 3D printed in the Airbnb.
better late than never. So we have our active extensions interfacing with the first rung that will pull us all the way down, and then the rung will essentially slide just underneath these, flip up, and then we will disengage, and then once we get to this position, our PTO will then release, sending these all the way back up to the top, grabbing the next rung.
And something about these passive hooks is they have like 2 joints on them, so that we don't have to pull up as far with the actives to get it to latch over the bar.
And I guess one final thing for other VEXU teams out there looking to make a super lightweight robot, I'm gonna leak the tech here. Our tanks, these are Robart RC airplane tanks. These allow us to hold more air and are a fraction of the weight of the SMC tanks that we used last year and early this season. And these you can find online at robart.com or something like that. I'll probably throw in the description. But these are super lightweight, they hold more air, and they just make the robot that much lighter and much simpler to climb with. So,
And you do need an adapter because they have smaller tubing.
yeah. But other than that, I think that's all the robot, all the tech. So that being said, this is all that we had for our robot explanation of this season during high stakes. We hope you guys got a lot from this video, but if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message or put in the comments or whatever you need. So we'll see you in pushback.